Africa has always had potential, but we are unable to translate that potential into results.
For the first time, a record number of African teams have marched into the knockout stage of the FIFA World Cup. 9 out of 10 teams that qualified moved out of the group stage. Beyond all the celebrations, there is incredible anticipation and one big question. Are we seeing the dawn of transformation for African football?
It really depends on what we do after the tournament. We've seen moments like this before and they fizzled out in just the moment.
Welcome to the flip side. In the history of the World Cup, Africa has seen a record number of teams advancing from the group stage, from Morocco's consistency to Cape Verde's surprising performance for its debut. The continent is no longer seen as just adding to the numbers. But does this breakthrough really change anything for African football?
Africa is now being viewed very differently. And then, of course, it confers on us many advantages going forward when decisions are going to be made as to if the tournament will have to be expanded to 6-4 format as it's been contemplated now to deal with some of the exigencies that comes with pairing and prediction in terms of who goes through to the last 32. Then Africa can state a claim that, look, we performed very well at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, so we need more slots.
So does this success have anything to do with FIFA's expanded structure?
I know there's been talks about the increase in number of teams and perhaps how that may have favored African countries, but I do not think so, because if you're looking at the 9 out of 10 that progressed to the group stages, 5 of them actually finished in the top 2, and in the previous formats that still would have been enough. And so more than half of the teams that progressed did it quote unquote the right way.
For decades, African football has been celebrated for raw talent, yet criticized for lack of tactic, investment and long-term planning. In the 2026 FIFA World Cup, however, that story seemed to be changing. Ghana's defense strategy when it played England was superb, and its goalie Benjamin Asare is ranked the 6th best at the tournament. The narrative is indeed changing. Now, how can it be sustained?
I believe that African teams and African football now has gradually learned from its lessons, and we're gradually improving from what people or what the world used to think that African football used to be. Take us back to Ivory Coast during the last AFCON before the one Morocco hosted, and you'd understand that African football is really improving when it comes to infrastructure, because that is one of the most important things for teams to improve, for the continent to actually grow in terms of the sport.
I think gradually that perception is changing, and that's, as I said, now most of our players are playing in Europe, and so even you talk of strength, you can't be relying on strength and be playing in Europe. You have to be tactically inclined.
And what will it take? Experts who track the beautiful game sometimes point to better governance, stronger youth academies, and investment in football.
We need to have our governance rights in terms of who will be elected to provide and administer football on the continent, not based on whom you know and all of that. And that would go down to even player selection, because what we see from Ghana to Nigeria and other parts of the continent is the fact that, players sometimes don't get there on merit. So you have fantastic players who are playing so well in their respective clubs but are never called up for national duties.
We have to support our players and our team as a national. We have to give them the morale. We have to encourage them to do better and always be there for them all the time.
The stakes are high. With global attention now fixed on African teams, there's an opportunity to attract investment, strengthen domestic leagues, and nurture grassroots talent. Yet, history has taught us that past breakthroughs don't necessarily lead to structural change, but hope remains high.
I think this is a really good opportunity. It's a good landmark for African countries to say that, hey, maybe we are not so far away from breaking this jinx of winning this competition.
And that is the flip side.